All right, thank you all for inviting me here today and letting me give you this speech. So, who of you have asked yourselves the question, how do I fall in love? Anyone here by the raise of hands?
How do I fall in love?
Okay, all of you? All of you?
Definitely.
Well, good, good. So we're going to talk a little bit about that question. So, first off, we're going to talk about this. So, everybody kind of has these ways that we think we're going to fall in love with somebody. We all either believe that, there's that one certain person that's out there for us. There's some people that believe that, or there's other people that believe that, there's a whole group of people that they could fall in love with, that they're meant to be with. And so what I'm going to talk about today is what I believe is that we can fall in love with anybody. And it's possible for us to fall in love with anyone. And I'm going to use a few points to kind of emphasize that. So first I want to talk about a study done by a man named Arthur Aron. And so he was a psychologist. He got a group of these psychologists together and they tried to recreate love in a lab. So what they did was they went into this lab, they got this guy and this girl that had never met each other before and didn't know what was going on. And they had them sit down across a table from each other and ask them a series of 36 questions. And then afterwards, a 4-minute staring contest. And after this couple had done this, they didn't know that they were supposed to fall in love after. 3 months later, they invited that entire psychology lab to their wedding. So, another story is from this lady named Mandy Len Catron, and she is a New York Times reporter. And she saw this study, so she's like, hey, what the heck, I'll give it a try. So there's this guy that she liked at her rock climbing gym, and she decided, all right, I'll ask him on a date. So they go on this date, and she kind of tells him about these 36 questions. And he's like, oh, what the heck, let's try it. So they started off where they're going through these 36 questions. Now the 36 questions are kind of broken up into 3 different sets. The first set is more basic questions, things that you'd usually ask somebody when you first meet them, like, what's your favorite color? Do you like Huskies versus Yorkies? Things like that, And just kind of basic questions. Then there's a second set. The second set is questions that are a little bit more personal. Questions that are kind of digging more into things that you wouldn't really talk to somebody when you first met them. And then the third set of questions is very personal. Things that you definitely wouldn't normally talk to somebody when you first meet them. And so as they go through these questions, at first it's really casual, but as the time goes on, they're sitting in a bar, and 50 minutes pass, and they're still sitting there talking, and they begin to have this real conversation, and this is when they begin to fall in love. And then afterwards, they had the 4-minute staring contest, and later on, Mandy ends up getting married to this man. She ends up saying that she didn't know if the 36 questions were why they ended up getting married, but she is very thankful that she ended up using these 36 questions in her life. So the 3 points that I wanna bring up are, first, we all have expectations that we are looking for in a partner. We want somebody who can cook, who can do this or that. We kind of have these subconscious built-up things that in our mind that we want in a partner. And these 36 questions helps us get past that kind of thinking and stop thinking along the lines of, I want this type of person, so I'm only going to date these kinds of people, versus you can fall in love with anybody. Everybody has good qualities that you can fall in love with. Second, how trust and vulnerability in a relationship creates love between any man and any woman. And so the importance of trust and vulnerability, the 36 questions, as they go through the different sets, you begin to trust this person you're talking to. As you trust them with these more personal questions, they begin to feel that trust with you as well. And so they'll trust you, and they will ask those same questions and share what they believe with you. And this creates a trust between you two, and also a vulnerability. Because if you're not willing to become vulnerable in this type of situation, you can't have a strong relationship if you two are both not vulnerable, if you aren't sacrificing something. And then third, learning to learn about others, and in turn, learning about yourself. This is one of the most important principles that the 36 questions help us realize, is that as we learn about this other person that we are sitting across from, this person that we're trying to fall in love with, as we are trying to learn about them, we start to learn more about ourselves. Because as we ask ourselves those 36 questions, normally, we have the subconscious, our subconscious has these answers already, but we don't constantly think about these. We don't have our answers with us all the time. But as we go through these 36 questions with someone else, we start to answer those questions out loud. We hear ourselves saying those answers out loud, and we begin to learn more about what we believe and who we are as a person. And we also learn about them as well. So overall, we have getting over the expectations that we want in a partner, getting over that type of thinking, how trust and vulnerability in a relationship, strength in a relationship, that's the two most important things, and then learning to learn about others, and in turn learning about yourself. And those three principles will help us to fall in love. And to end, basically, it has to be a mutual desire between both of you. You can fall in love with anybody. I believe that wholeheartedly. You can fall in love with anybody, but it has to be mutual between both of you. If you want to fall in love with this girl that's sitting across from you, but she doesn't want to fall in love with you, nothing is ever going to happen. You can ask all the 36 questions, you can ask any questions you want, and nothing's ever going to happen if she doesn't open her heart to you. But if you have two people that decide to open their heart, to trust, and to become vulnerable with each other, then you create love in a lab. Thank you. Any questions?
What are the 36 questions?
I don't have them memorized.
Where can you find the 36 questions?
You can, if you search them on the computer, if you search them on Google, a New York Times website has published all the 36 questions, also with a link to Arthur Aron's study that he published in, I believe, 1997.
Okay.
The year Pokemon came out.
The year Pokemon came out.
I have another question.
Okay.
Have you ever used these questions?
I have.
How awkward is the 4-minute staring contest?
Not very awkward.
So you've done it before?
Oh, I
Yes.
wonder with who? Huh.
Did it work?
Huh?
Did it work?
I don't know. I've never done it before.
You can't
Lie so bad. So bad.